What up, everybody? Welcome to the Thursday episode to the Road to 150. Today we'll be doing another draft, solo draft. As Hope has posted, we did last week. If you missed it out on Tuesday, sorry, not last week, but Tuesday, we did a process check with Hope. Today we're doing a process check with me. Other than that, got nothing much else to say. Hope, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. Not having to click all the draft buttons or think about the picks. I got myself a nice glass of white wine. It's gonna be an easy night for me. Just kind of peppering you with some questions and getting deeper into your process. I kind of like this was a really good idea to do, and so yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. And I know people are gonna ask like, "Hey, where did this come from? Why are we doing it this way?" And we talked a little bit on the last one, but basically, it's when I'm a viewer, we watch all the grades, right? We watch Pat, we watch Sam, we watch Pete, Liam, Felix, and all these other guys who just do great content. Sometimes we do it shared though, and we're collective. And I feel like our processes, while we're entertaining, etc., kind of get lost. Like you have a question, but you're like, it's not being answered. So this is like our chance to kind of go through everything we talk about, and then if you have questions, just shoot,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you don't have to like what I do. You don't have to like what Hope does. But I think you would at least, I'm sure everybody here is curious, right?
Yeah,
Like we're all curious what people do. So, I mean, that's how me and you met up in the first place. You were just curious of how I was drafting back a year ago.
absolutely. So yeah, it's been an interesting day in the NFL. Camp is here. We're getting all those injury scares. As soon as something happens, this person's carted off. We got Jalen Ramsey going down. We've got Burrow, the scare there. And so, it's really, really like, it's hard. You got to be so like cognizant of like what's real and what's not. And like there's going to be so many swings, player injuries, this and that, we really got to like, make sure we like filter all this news because it's being thrown at us like a million miles an hour.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. When I saw the Calvin Ridley thing, I was like, oh, okay, whoa. Like, let me. That looks good. That looks good. I don't know. I like getting excited for camp. I want, because I also use camp as like a good indicator of, and it's not. I said good indicator, but a helpful indicator of like, is this serious? And I gave you an example over our chat was, I wasn't really in on Jalen Hurts until about mid-August. I was like, I started turning that corner. I ended up with like 18 to 20% Hurts. I was drafting Hurts a bit, but I wasn't doing the Hurts AJ Brown combo too much. I usually do one-offs, but I really started comboing these guys when I saw how much they were showcasing AJ Brown, how the catches looked. And sure, you could argue that and people get highlights, but man, it was nice to see it last year. I do think these are helpful because what would you feel if they didn't do any highlights, zero
Right.
showcase? You'd be like, it makes you question it a little bit.
Yeah,
That's just human
absolutely.
nature.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot you can learn. I will say everything, of course, mostly is overwhelmingly positive, right?
of course.
And that's the one thing you got to be careful of. People are in the best shape of their life, or and like I've seen so many like people like the stats just don't matter to me. Like, oh, this person completed 7 of 12 in this period. I mean, that stuff is so irrelevant to me. They're not even in pads yet. Um, so a lot of that I kind of filter through. But yeah, the Calvin Ridley, I mean, that one's going around everywhere. I was luckily already in on Calvin Ridley, so I actually got 16% of him. I'm really here for the Jags this year. I think they're, obviously the division is super soft. But yeah, that was one of the ones that started making its rounds. How much faster than Zay Jones he looked running that drill. And he seems locked in and really want to, you know, take back his spot as one of the best receivers in the league. So that was
Um,
fun.
yeah. Other than that, just quick reminder, we suck at this. Please like, subscribe, retweet, share. Check it. If you only watch half the show now, watch the rest of it later. Viewer times, all that stuff really does help. We are
Yep.
trying to build this as much as we can over the summer, right? The goal is to get to that 600 or 500 mark before summer hits and summer's over. We're a little short, so please help us with that.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right.
You want to get into your drafts?
Yeah, I'm entering one already. Let's see if it
And
hits.
then
Waiting on 6.
Jay Chang, I'm not sure what you mean. It's like my best team. The best team I think I've drafted this year, or like my best team ever, or what? But
How many out of your 700 can you figure out? Do you know off the
that's
top
what
of
I'm
your head?
thinking. I'm like, this might be a homework assignment for for next show, if that's what that means. Yeah, let's get
Holy crap! Thank you. I am the 101.
to see that.
I'm so influenced right now.
Old on 101s lately. I'm down to 6% Justin Jefferson. Remember, like through my first like 40 or 50, I was at what 16, 70%. I just been stone cold on him the last like 25 drafts.
So
That would be
one thing. So first things first. Obviously, this is a process video. You're gonna try to get into my mind as much as you can. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask, and I hope we'll definitely pop it in. And then first things first. I always look for badges. I know that's gonna sound superstitious, but I like to look at how many people I'm facing that are red badges, and if I know they are, dailies players.
Nick's in the 12 here. What's up, Chris? So, do you ever get cute at the 101? We'll start there. Do you ever get cute? Do you ever not take Justin Jefferson?
No, I always take Justin Jefferson. I might exactly be 8% right now. This might be my 8% Justin Jefferson pick. 99 drafts in, guys. This is my 99th draft, so this is my JJ Watt draft. No, I don't get cute. Is there a situation I would though? Yeah, I would get cute if I was like just stupidly overweight. I did this last year with JT. I started taking CMC. I had enough 101s. I wasn't 100% sold. I did think CMC was comparable to JT. I don't know if I feel short of Cooper Kupp. I don't think anyone's comparable to JJ.
Good stuff, Tarek. We love to see that. Getting your badge. That's awesome. I remember seeing when I got mine. It was fun. It's one of those moments. I kind of wish Underdog would do a little bit more with tiers and rewards. And I'm sure they've got stuff planned and as they keep growing, but I think that would be cool, or more things we can do with different badges. I think some of that would be fun. People really like that stuff.
So yeah. I wish there was another badge up. I like the employee one. It's like blue. It's pretty cool.
Chris is with Liam on the chase. JJ, that's tough for me. I can't get there just with the target competition with T and Boyd. I mean, he's probably got a higher one game ceiling. Would you say? I don't even know.
I mean, Burrow is a better quarterback than Cousins. I feel like I don't even hate when people say that, because I do think like if we're playing for week 17 and you told me that you're afraid that Justin Jefferson with like Kirk Cousins is probably bad like it was last year, I'm not going to argue against that. Kirk has like these really, really dead games. You know, like it happens. He has like 5-point games out of nowhere. And week 17 was the exact last year where we all died. I had so many Justin Jefferson finalist teams that I wish I just didn't even make finals. I was like, got my hopes up for no reason. So
yeah, no, my two teams in the Puppy 3 final, one was a Jefferson Kirk stack that did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you lost to Mike Evans, like, oh, like yippee, like, like it feels bad.
And then my other one that was actually decent, that finished like top 40, had some Bills and Bengals on it, so that was a little tilting. I think I had an outside shot at like a top 15 finish, if that game goes, but such is life.
Also, I like to look at picks here to see if I see anything. So part of why I look at how many badges I have and who's in there is one, it tells me the odds of somebody falling meta right now. So when I see less badges, I feel like I see less meta. And you start to see these funny picks right now, like
Chubb.
I hear like AJ Brown to Jalen Hurts double stack early, or Nick Chubb in the first round, things like that. Like I tend to look because I think this is going to happen more often when you have less badges.
GM. Yeah, don't bring it up. Chris was extremely live in a contest last year to win with the week 17. But yeah, we got to get a reunion soon. We're all from the DFW area, me and Chris and Nez and Stephanie. So we got to do that soon. All right, as you're approaching back here at the 2-3 turn, anything you're looking at this point, like hoping to fall to you? Do you ever do anything weird? Like I see some people like, reach all the way for Christian Watson, because if you don't take him at the 2-3 turn, you're never going to get him on a Justin Jefferson team. So like if you really care about week 17, and you want to get that combination of players, you kind of have to reach on it. I know some people have gotten it to fall, but it's pretty rare that happens.
I don't do that. I think Week 17 is very important, obviously in its own right. I just don't want to rush and push those. I think ADP value matters, especially in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I will reach a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong. Like here, like in this 25 pick, there's a chance I might grab like Ridley, or if Cooper was not red dotted negatively, I could, if I was really in on Cooper or Andrews, like I would grab these guys because 4 picks, not a big difference. But when we're talking about, down here, it's like a huge round and a half reach. That's a huge dividend loss in my mind that I don't want to pay. Also, I hate to say this, but I actually like really into like T Higgins right now, and Higgins weeks 15 with Justin Jefferson is like something I just really enjoy more.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which means I probably won't get him back. So I do play very much to like ADP at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, I haven't really got one of these in a minute.
Yeah, Pollard to fall. You could do the Devonta T with Jettas.
And just get really
reach for Ridley. I don't know if you have a Justin Jefferson Ridley combo at all in BBM.
I don't
Probably
think I
not.
do.
I mean, it would be a hard one to get without reaching.
Taking Pollard would be really tempting.
Yeah, you're gonna fall here.
First. So I have to decide. I actually think the first 3 picks really decides how your draft's going to go. If I grab Ridley here, I don't have a shot at other receiver. I basically don't have a shot at running back for a minute. I could grab Pollard. I'm going to stay close to like the grain and take Pollard.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. I mean, it's 5 picks of ADP value, which is nice. Which 5 picks doesn't sound like a lot, but in the first few rounds, it is, because you don't see like random 30 pick ADP falls in these first few rounds. So 5 is actually a decent amount.
Also, why I kind of push back to that whole like badges thing is when you start to see less badges, I feel like you get these picks more. Like when I see more guys in red and white in here, I feel like I'm never gonna get these like wide receiver duels. I'm just not.
That's for
I'm
sure.
not gonna get Pollard. I'm not gonna get that. Nick Chubb getting drafted early makes a difference.
Derrick Henry going
at 19
in front of the receivers.
Early, right? Like this is the kind of thing you'll see. Which is, I'm not saying these are bad, by the way.
No, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, and getting Ridley with the hype.
Yeah. So this is like, I feel like this is a higher occurrence in these like badgeless rooms. So, that's why I look at it. It tells me what I likely will get back. Likely what you get back doesn't change what's going to happen though.
So with now you've drafted, Justin Jefferson and T. Are you already thinking Burrow, or are you thinking Kirk? Like, what do you care? Like, setting up those kind of stacks not setting them up like you're in a draft, but are you already thinking about those players, or you gonna take more what comes to you?
I'm thinking Burrow. I'm thinking hard on Burrow. I'm thinking if any of these guys here fall, that they might be my picks. Like Joe Mixon. I found out today I have like 21% Joe Mixon, which is like kind of painful because I have taken him in the middle to the higher side now. But if I get him at 49.50, like that's fine. Like I feel like that's no different than getting him at 60 because that's kind of the way the team plays anyways. So I am considering Joe. I'm considering, any of these guys that fall, of course, right? Like if Najee falls to me or Jerry Judy or like Watson, like I'm going to snap pick these guys just because it's a good fall.
You're going to snap pick Najee? I'm just kidding. No, that would be sick.
I would play for like this. I mean, I'll probably have to eat a lot of bye week 7. But like, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm looking at probably DJ Moore here, Justin Fields maybe to an extent. I don't really like to get Justin Fields. I feel like his running's coming down. I just feel like that's gonna be the case. He has to showcase his franchise ability as a quarterback. But like this, Hawkinson even, I get really cute around this area. This is where I get the most mixes.
It's fair.
And even sometimes now Kenneth Walker. I've been kind of going in on that.
I've been trying to get more Ken Walker.
Yeah.
Davis, you've been enjoying the Michael Thomas. Hey, he's there in practicing. That's big for Michael Thomas. Yeah.
That's huge for me, man. I'm stoked. How does he look? He looks okay. I won't say he looks like amazing. He doesn't like Calvin Ridley out there. I don't expect him to be though. He's still imposing though. I still think like he shows still has the hands. Obviously him and Carr are like trying to show each other up right now and be like the guys. I think he looks fine. I know people are already giving him crap right now because they saw him run some slants, but that's kind of been Michael Thomas's game. Like
his nickname is literally Slant Boy. Like,
well, if you actually watch like Thomas's routes, he really knows how to body his way in. He's not like a guy that runs a slant like in Madden and it's like free yardage. He actually really knows how to throw his like 6'3" frame to get these like really tight possessional catches. And if that's what they're doing with them, that's great because he'll be like this junk 1,000-yard guy, but he could get like 8 touchdowns. And
Yeah.
I'm buying touchdowns when I play this game. That's
Absolutely.
all I care about.
That's something I've done. I'm doing so much more this year. I mean, it sounds obvious. Like, pick the guy who's going to score touchdowns. But it is. Like, you can get there without touchdowns on a full PPR site, with a running
Yeah.
back who catches a lot of passes. And, like, that's something I had to learn the hard way last year from, mainly being a DFS or a full PPR, like, season-long player, was making that adjustment to, like, these guys might not be sexy. They might not be, like, the archetype you're used to, like, drafting or playing. But it's just so much different on a half PPR site.
And also just the fact too, it's like, oh man, Cooper to 43. That's pretty. That's really nice. Like touchdowns matter for your spike week. Like I think the odds of getting like a spike week of out touchdowns is almost impossible, right? Like when do we have a game where someone's like, oh my god, he had a spike week? You see it as 200 yards and 25 catches. Like it sucks. It's like those just don't occur. Julio Jones did that, kind of, but it's just I feel like that's
and like another thing coming from the other side, like bonuses and stuff. So
yeah, let's get bonuses.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, my friend Ryan here is asking if Burrow fallen at all today. I've seen a couple people post drafts where he went to like 55, but it hadn't happened too much. I think, the coach is coming out really quickly and saying that it was a sprain. Is this going to be a tilting auto pick here?
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Oh,
nice.
my dub. So this is where I'm at right now. I know for sure I'm taking DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I could grab Hawk, add to my JJ. Could grab Burrow. I feel like I have a lot of these, but I'm still gonna go with it. I'm not worried about Joe. I'm still taking DJ. Well, he fell IRL. So this team is basically like pseudo built. So right now, I already know I want to build. This is a 2-quarterback team, like guaranteed. Sure. I'm not gonna pivot to a third unless my second quarterback is like Howell, and then I go like Howell, Matthew Stafford or something. But at this point, part of my idea is to know that I'm going to QB. If I would have grabbed Hawkinson, probably been a 2 kind of situation, but I know for sure this is a 2-quarterback.
For sure. I like this. It's shaping up solid. What are you thinking with the Bears now? I've seen a little bit, but I mean, of course, camp hype is positive right now. I mean, it is, but I feel like it's going to always be, and it's been 2 days. But how are you approaching the Bears? There's been a lot of FUD from smart people, on their projections of the Bears just being not good. So what are you been doing with them?
I think the Bears are not going to be good, right? Their O-line got a little better. Their defense got a little worse. Like they lost like Roquan Smith to get like the Terrell Edmonds, I think, right? Something weird like that.
Yeah, from the Bills.
Yeah, so which is still a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he was not Roquan Smith. Like Roquan Smith was so much better.
And they paid him so much.
But like that's fine. I think they can suck. Like we see crappy teams go off, and one thing I've always considered, and this is why I take so much DJ Moore, and people are kind of coming around on this. DJ Moore is far from a crappy player, and he's people will point to him and say, well, he's playing for his best quarterback. I would always turn this around and say if he went to most teams, he'd probably be their best receiver that most quarterbacks have played with, right? Like you have to really dig deep to be like, oh yeah, this guy, this is not the best receiver X quarterback has played with. He could have gone to the Jags, right? And you could argue that DJ Moore would have been the best receiver that Trevor Lawrence ever played with, right? Like I think you can take this over to many type of guys, and I think Moore is that good. So I'm not worried about that portion. I am worried about Fields. Just like I said, I don't know if he's going to run a lot. Sure. But I do think like his passing numbers can't be bad.
I mean, I disagree. Like you're worried about his rushing?
Yeah. When the weapons actually get better, like you're not going to try to run more. It doesn't mean that he won't run. Like there's a difference between running 1,000 yards though and like 600.
Also, I got to ask you about Cole Kmet here too. Your boy, kind of. The one you were a stand for. Gets the $50 million contract, more average per year than Saquon Barkley, by like about $3 million. And so, see you, Chris. Yeah, no Najee tonight.
Deuces.
For Davis, it's tough when you're on at the one spot
Yeah.
to get him to ever come back to you, unless you reach and take him, 10, 12 picks ahead of ADP. But
Yeah, it's tough. I could have maybe grabbed him at 25, but I'm not doing that. Like I love Najee here but I don't love Najee enough to like
you gotta
sabotage
take
the
him
team.
over, Tony Pollard.
No, I'm not. Like I think if we got really ugly and everyone left me with like Jacobs and like Metcalf, I would consider it, I guess, but probably not. There goes Kittle, which kind of sucks. I like Kittle a lot. But yeah, like I know Hope was asking was like, how do I feel about DJ Moore? I think DJ Moore is like a solid 1,000 for 8 this year, and I'm probably cutting off like 100, 200 yards. I think DJ Moore gets like 8 touchdowns, and like I said, that's what I care about the most.
Yeah, that'd be a really good number for him. I'm not scared of taking him either, especially like where you can get him most of the time in the 5th round now. I mean, like, I don't believe like in Mooney that much. I know you like him a little bit more than me, but I mean, we know the trope. He's been with bad quarterbacks his entire life, entire NFL life, and so getting with Justin Fields is like probably an upgrade. Now, obviously, the pass rate was not great last year, and they've got to, change a lot of the offense. But Justin Fields is a young player; like he can get better. And if you're like the number one alpha in the offense, even with like mediocre quarterback play, or he's gonna just soak up targets in that offense.
I mean, the wide receiver cores were literally practice squad guys. Like they were all practice squatters at that talent level. I'm not worried. Like Dante Pettis should not be your wide receiver out there doing work.
Dante Pettis.
But yeah,
people loved him back in the day.
I like Cole Kmet. I really do. I think Cole Kmet's one of those guys that's not meant to be like a highlight for your team. Everyone kept pretending he was, but I never saw it that way. I saw him as
the Knox contract.
Huh?
Him and Knox got basically the same contract.
Yeah, they're not. They're not featured guys. They're not supposed to be your like second options. There's just some guys that aren't that person. I would never compare Cole Kmet to like TJ Hawkinson.
It's funny. Like I've always been, and I still will always be like a, RBs don't matter, blah, blah, blah. Like you shouldn't pay running backs. But then seeing Cole Kmet getting 12.5 a year and Saquon at essentially 10.1 guaranteed, that did hit me. Like something's got to be flipped here. Like can we pay?
Something's got to give, right?
Can we pay Cole Kmet like $6 million a year? Like I don't believe he's worth $3 million more than Saquon Barkley. And I get the market's to market, but and I'm not a fan of paying running backs, but something like that math ain't mathin', as they say.
Well, that's really good value coming down. Dotson's so I have a shot at Sanders, Evans, Goddard, Pickett, Swift, Montgomery. Is Montgomery hurt? I don't even know.
What was that blurb? I didn't even see it a blurb today.
Who?
Montgomery. He's got a red dot. Yeah. What was it? Oh.
No, it was just that he's healthy for
camp.
It's just funny. Like I just expect, is he hurt? Like how there goes Evans. That stings. God, week 7 miles. Well, I'm gonna take Goddard.
It is craziness. I think you're talking about the Kmet making that more like it is wild. Sanders. Yeah. I know Goddard's been one of your guys this offseason. I will ask you here. So obviously you got your top 2 running backs on week 7 bye. Does that matter to you at all? Obviously you got a huge value on Sanders. So that doesn't matter too much, but what are you thinking here in this situation? Is it something you're really going to watch going forward, or how do you handle that?
Oh yeah, I definitely have to pay attention to it. I don't think I can afford to like just keep adding week 7s. I think I care enough to know that I'm not going to win a regular season. Like there's just not going to happen. But I don't care enough that I probably like to say if there was another week 7 faller, like I would take him. Like if Traylon Burks like found his way back to me, I would take him. If Brandon Cooks found his way to me, maybe I'd take him too. Right? Like
and I was meaning more so specifically at running back.
Oh, at running back, same thing. Like if there's a week 7 guy coming to me, I would probably take him.
Yeah.
If it's just good value, it's good value.
Sure.
I think that at some point I might curve a little bit and hope that like my 3rd, 4th, or 5th guy is like maybe a Brian Robinson type guy, Adrian Dillon. Maybe I'm looking at those guys a little bit harder because they have week 14s. And I feel like they are front runners in their roles. So I maybe I'll get 8 points that week instead of 15 on 2 positions, like 8 each. And I'm okay with that. Like I'll take my minor loss, but I do have to look at it. I'm taking essentially 4 zeros at week 7 right now. All the pain.
I like it. Let's see, throw up the board here. See if there's anyone else got an interesting start that you should pay attention to. We got Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert on the same team.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at a lot of teams during this time frame. I will normally click around this way though.
Okay.
But I like to look at what somebody's doing, right? So this person, this is obviously harder, but I will look. So this person has Patrick Mahomes or Jamar Chase, so they're probably playing week 17. I like to assume, and I hate, assume that this person's probably targeting like Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS, right?
Whoever is in the 2 holes, definitely a ship chaser.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift is their RB1 and all those receivers.
And then this one, I would look here too. Like, are they building? So I always like to look. So this guy's Ridley, Lawrence, Dotson, Pickens. So that's probably
they've got week 17 set up too.
Do they?
Washington and San Fran.
Oh yeah, you're right. So Washington, San Fran, triple jacks. So these guys, it tells me enough that these people pay attention. Yeah. I actually recognize some of these names, but like I would always look. Cup, Olave, Ramondre, Najee at 45. Well, I actually could have gotten Najee. I had a shot at him.
I'm telling you, it happens like pretty regularly.
Never happens for me though. Okay.
Wait, it's because you're the one taking him at 36.
I've been in the middle and I've never seen him at 43. Like I'm
just giving you a hard time.
But I am staring. Like, so when I see somebody that has like a hodgepodge team, so this one just got their week 17 correlation. So this room is definitely more stronger than a lot of other rooms I would see.
Yeah, even without the badges, yeah.
It sounds like a badge, like a non-badge hater, but I do see like a lot of rooms get weird. No,
it can go either way because you do have to draft a ton to get a badge or win a ton. Yeah. So you can be a non-badge player and still be in the best ball space.
Like this guy right here has 4 RBs, right? Like Alexander Madison, Dobbins, Rashad White, like Jonathan Taylor. Scooping up value though, like I can't get mad at someone scooping value, but I do think this is like pure 4 RB teams.
Yeah, it's a tough start.
Kelsey, and he had Kelsey, right? So this is definitely like a hard detour.
Yeah, I would quit at 4 RBs if I was that person.
ETN, Eckler, Waddle, Marquise, Tyler Lockett, Johnston. That's like totally fine to me. But like this is one of those playing that like get the minor stack correlation here. So I always look at that. Oh, there, get the 2-2. Nice. Oh, damn, Sky at 88. Remember when we were talking about Sky 2 weeks ago? A month ago?
It was. And we were talking about Sky. I remember, I think, did I DM you? Or was it before?
And I said the same thing to you. I was like, I've been thinking about Sky too.
I was like, are we forgetting about Sky? Because, he was not great. But he was, at the end of the day, he was a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
And I think his ADP was 110 when we started talking about him?
110, 120.
Yeah. And we're like, are we just forgetting? He's still a round 2 wide receiver. We probably should start mixing him in more. He's connected to
my
Mahomes.
Boy, he's not making it back.
No.
Oh, and wow. I'm literally going to miss on all 3 of my boys. That sucks.
The thumbnail is ruined.
My thumbnail is ruined. Connor got taken here. I got Thomas get taken here. This is a tease. Like, these guys actually got kind of close.
They did.
Ugh, I wish that was 103.
Let's see. You're coming here 96 and Traylon Burks is still on the board.
No, he's got to go. There's no way. There
and he
goes.
goes.
He got auto-drafted, I think.
Yeah.
Damn, that stings. That hurts. I would have definitely have taken him. So yeah, when you were talking about bye weeks, this is where I do care. So I'm like at 1, 2, 3, 1. I would probably grab like Dylan, Bateman.
What are you doing on Kamara? Since the
I'm full fading.
Still full
fading to do with them.
Okay.
It's just I'm not sold on his talent as overall
at this point in his career, obviously.
Even before, I've always been kind of like I liked him a lot in some cases, but this is not one of them. Like we had talked about this last year, and I was like, I just don't think he's good between the tackles. His fluke of 11 touchdowns, I don't think I was coming back.
Yeah,
it's just tough to like. And then we definitely saw his game go down the year before. Like he just actually looked worse. And now he doesn't have I would say like a Drew Brees-esque guy that is actually able to like do check downs. Like
Josh Jacobs caught like 60 balls last year.
Once, right? Like one time.
I know, but that doesn't mean like. I know. I mean, that just shows that Derek Carr would check down.
Yeah, I think if I saw like a couple of years of it, Derek Carr, I'd be more inclined. I feel like that was more of a coaching thing where they were like, just use Jacobs, like just use him because that's what they did. They used Jacobs way beyond like he's ever been used.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm not with you there on like questioning his talent overall. I just the crowded backfield is what does it for me, but I don't know. And yeah, the injury stuff, he's going to be suspended. I get the fade. I'd push back on the talent aspect, but I get I get it. I mean, it's a tough situation there with all the different running backs and the impending suspension.
I mean,
So
he's slightly older, right? He's in his mid 20s, over 27, 28. 28. He's 28. Has a lot of distractions, kind of injury prone as is, and a lot of his good work comes from the receiving. And I feel like we're losing a little bit of that right now. I don't know. It just
I
does
don't know,
not
man.
scream upside to me. I mean, I pick 95. Like, sure, I don't mind people taking him. I'm fading him, but I'm not saying that's a bad pick if you take him. I guess is my point.
I mean, if
I
you're
want to buy
fading him, I think
touchdowns.
it kind of says it's a bad pick.
I mean, you just don't have to like a certain archetype. I don't like
Fair.
these archetypes for I don't want my pass catching like running backs to be the how they get touchdowns in this point. And that's how I picture Alvin Kamara. He doesn't. So I don't want that. I want up the gut guys. Guys, I feel like it can do it that way. So yeah, if you ever see like my exposures, it's usually these overly used type of players like DJ Moore, T Higgins, like Justin Jefferson. I like these old, obviously Justin, but like T Higgins
Why
and
you
like
like Justin Jefferson
and
because he
DJ
gets
Moore. Like people aren't in on T Higgins and people aren't on DJ Moore, but I like these guys that are used more than deep routes. Like I'll take DJ Moore 99 times out of 100 over Mike Williams right now because DJ Moore can be used so much all over the field. He's a deep threat. He's over the middle. He's a route runner. He's all the above. So I will always take these guys. And I get Mike Williams might have a technical better upside because he is a deep shot person, 50-50 ball.
probably
But
in
like
a
CeeDee Lamb's a good example of like CeeDee Lamb is more fun to take than AJ Brown to me. CeeDee Lamb had higher overall weeks than AJ Brown in the top
You
three
talking about
finishes.
spike weeks, or are you talking
Yeah,
about
his spike weeks were
consistency?
better. He had better top three finishes, I think, than like Pat pulled the stats for all on the dog pound. It's like, oh, it makes sense. I want these overly used guys, not these niche type.
I mean, I actually agree about worrying a little tiny bit about AJ Brown's volume this year, but yeah, I don't know. I might fact check you on the spike weeks. I just feel like AJ Brown had a few like 3 or 4 touchdown games that I don't remember CD having.
No, he didn't get.
I
3
think
or 4
CD's
touchdowns.
probably better for consistency for sure. If you want like consistent 15 to 17 points versus just with the competition that AJ Brown has compared to him, but I don't know. Let's check that.
So I know James said AJ Brown smoked Pittsburgh. Everybody smoked Pittsburgh though. Like that wasn't even like specific to AJ Brown. Like everybody.
Gabe Davis smoked Pittsburgh.
Yeah, everybody smoked Pittsburgh. They crushed Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Everybody just crushed them. They were really bad in the secondary, and they did not get better this year. So whoever's playing Pittsburgh, he's like gonna have a good time. But I like these overly used guys. Like I said, I do think archetypes matter. I obviously will rate spike week guys over possessionals, like slot type dudes. But if you were to ask me, would I take like these? I would definitely take these guys.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think like right now I don't know what Bateman is, but I do think Bateman could be in between because he was a deep guy and on the other side. Yeah.
Right. Are you starting? So where is Kirk at? Is he gonna fall back to you? Not to like get your pick sniped, but is that what you're thinking here? Probably at this turn, or what are
Probably
you
not.
thinking?
I
As
mean,
this?
I already have Burr, so
Yeah.
I don't need a force Cousins. I think if I went this route, I mean, obviously, I kind of wish Daniel Jones would be the guy that came back to me. Damn, Nico's just riding up that freaking thing, 111. So I don't know, maybe.
I know.
But I
I
don't
wish
think
I
I
would
need
have
it. I would,
not missed the boat as much on Nico when he was going so much later.
I think I'd take Brian Robinson maybe if he came back to me. Odell probably on there. He didn't get back to me. Neither does Odell. Maybe Harris. Like I said, I don't think I need that second quarterback super bad.
That's fair.
And I think I could build some random back stacks on the end of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you spent a lot on Burrow, so not having to take him. And randomly, Kirk does fall. Like, it's probably not happening. But there's a chance. I actually like this take from James here. On Mechie. I'm getting pumped for him. I am biased because I love John Mechie, but
Which go to go to Bama or Miss?
Do what?
Which go did Mechie go to? Was it Bama or Miss?
It was Alabama, of course.
Alabama, yeah.
We were there at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, no, he was awesome. Like his.
See? We called this. We already knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
This week 17 stack up. All right.
It's an interesting spot for you.
I mean, at this point, it's probably just Damian.
I like Damian.
I'm probably gonna bet a little bit more here. Damian for sure. I'm considering Geno, but I don't think like Geno makes sense for this team at all. I feel like I just push it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, especially if you're questioning taking Kirk, even with the stack.
Geno. So that's why I said I don't think it's gonna be the case. So it's probably Darnell. I don't really think Juju. God, like what the hell's going on with Juju anymore? Chick. I could reach a little bit down and maybe grab some of these guys here, but not really in on them either. Dulcich already went to, I think. So I'm just gonna go Darnell.
Nice. I like that. I mean, you're making a bet on Chicago. You do have 4 of your 5 wide receivers week 13 buys. I don't know if you saw that.
I'll just eat it.
Yeah, you're just gonna blow out the rest of the league.
That's the goals.
National champs. What we'll do a quick college football pause. No, I'm a pretty realistic fan. I don't love the team this year. We don't have great weapons at receiver or quarterback situation. It's the worst it's been in since Jalen. Not since Jalen. Like Jalen was awesome, but yeah, before Jalen. So I'm expecting 9-3, 10-2 is what I would expect. But I'm pretty realistic when it comes to that. Hope for better. Defense should be fun. That's your college football moment. Are you thinking anything Atlanta since you're making such a big bet on Chicago? Your boy Mac, another one who got some Camp Buzz highlights.
Yeah, I laughed when Mac Hollins was like the guy. I was like, dude, I just love Mac Hollins, dude. I like these like big down the field guys. I really do, especially veteran-ish level receivers, because I think they know how to play zone. They know how to play corners a lot better than younger guys. They may not have obviously like the speed, but they have like I think there's a level of experience that matters. I think Mac Hollins is gonna crush as ADP. He only has to be useful like 2 to 4 games. And I think out of all the games he has to be good in, like, why can't it be against the Bears?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. He's also probably going to get the random drug test tomorrow because he looked huge in that highlight from camp today. in that one-on-one.
I pulled up the numbers really quick for AJ Brown versus like CD. So CD had a 33-point game. AJ had that 36 against Pitt. Then the other big game AJ had was 28 against Tennessee. CD had 29 against the Eagles. And then after that, it's a 22 for AJ. And then about a couple of 19s for CD. So like I said, it wasn't like people think like CD didn't have like a 30-point game like he did. He also had like a high 20s too. Like, I don't know. I remember I've said this in the past. He had this quietest 1,300-yard season I think I've ever heard of. So the numbers actually aren't that far off from each other.
I did look them up too. I pulled them up. AJ and CD, it's closer than people think from the perception for sure.
There were a 7-point difference in total, and then to top it off, CD was playing with backup, like for like the first for 5 games or 4 games.
AJ's spikes were still slightly higher, 2 or 3 points, but overall, like if AJ had 20, CD had 18, like It's closer than you would think between their
Yeah,
spikes
exactly.
for sure.
And the consistency for CD was way better than the consistency for AJ.
Yeah, I would give you that too.
Yeah. So like,
I mean, they both were incredible last year. That's no debate. Yeah, the weapons Tarek could be okay. It's tough when you're coming off of like the weapons that were here the last 2 of the last 3 years, or 3 of the last 4 really. Tarek, are you an Alabama fan? I don't remember. Obviously, I think he is. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Look, and I'll admit I lean pessimistic. I don't think either of the quarterback options are great.
You sound like me as a Dolphins fan. Like I'm always like, ugh, my
I'm
Dolphins.
not usually pessimistic. Like I just try and be like realistic. I'm not one of those people who think we're going to win the national championship every year.
So real quick shout out to Nick's team already. Like Nick scoop value. Like he took Josh at 36. He got Lamb at Wilson. Like Lamb at 12 is always fun. Wilson at 13, obviously. Watson to go with his Addison, and obviously Kittle at 61. Like this is actually a really cool team, right? Elite tight end, elite really RB, 4 top end wide receivers. I know people are gonna point to Addison and be like, you're whatever, but he got it for this. And like I said, that's totally fine with me.
I like Addison.
Dak with that stack. Devon A Chain to go against. I think he took Zay. Yeah, Zay, Jamal Williams. Like this is a cool. Like I like this a lot. Triple RB here for that. Really, really solid lineup. So I got to look at my random buy stuff. So who's coming back?
I'll do a solo weekend stream one night. We'll get into the college. We'll get in the college stuff.
Jonathan,
have some of those discussions.
I've been taking like more Carolina lately, just for like these random one-off weeks. It's been kind of fun to take them.
And their playoff schedule is really nice too.
Yeah, and they are like a bad team, and like Bryce is like the QB1. I think like if I took Bryce, it is just for playoff weeks. I'm not using him at all. I do not. If I'm playing regular season, like I don't think Bryce does shit all season. But I think for playoffs, like I think it's fine to take like some of these Panthers and go for like week 15, 16, 17 plays.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Like, I think some of like, I get the rookie history, but these two guys were really good prospects overall. Like, obviously there were like size concerns, but as far as like their overall talent, but I get it. You know,
I'm not worried on talent. I'm worried about the team. Like, I really don't think
the team is not good.
Yeah, the team isn't good. Like, if this was,
I'm more confident Houston could be like frisky than Carolina. I don't know. Carolina's defense is not bad though. Like, if we're talking about like real life football, not for fantasy.
I'm talking about fantasy. Like, if we're fantasy, that team is just not a good team. Like Adam Thielen, Mingo, like Marshall, right? If somehow Bryce would have ended up on Washington, totally different story, right? Like I'd be like, oh yeah, like that's what I want right there. Like I would be drafting a lot more Bryce.
Yeah, I think CJ Stroud makes more sense because the Texans have a really good O-line, can protect him and give him time. The Panthers O-line is not bad, as we've talked about, but they have some injuries.
Damn it, not getting Russ either. Come on,
not getting Russ here.
All right, so let's take Mings. Another week 7 by 7. It's fine.
That's not your team. Yeah.
Take some Mingo. Don't really have anything else here to grab that I like. I could take Carr and then shoot around for later.
I like Carr's backstack options.
Yeah, I like the backstep. So I was actually thinking about Dulcich. Sorry, like Dulcich, but like Russell or Carr there just for backstack purposes, like easy to play around.
Yeah, those two
if
guys.
I would have got Russ, I might have grabbed Everett instead of Mingo, but obviously I didn't, so it's fine. So this person's probably gonna grab Ev. Oh, he didn't grab Ev. He grabbed Irv. Oh, that makes sense still. Fair. I really thought that Everett might have gone.
We knew you weren't taking Irv though.
I wasn't. No, I can't do it. So yeah, I mostly focus on archetypes that I like for a lot of my projections. So I do all my projections, of course. I don't do every team. I think some teams are just are hard to project. And if I don't follow college as much as some of you guys do, so I always rely on others to give me college info and things like that.
So it's fun to be your college go-to this year.
Huh?
I said it's been fun to be your college go-to this year.
Yeah, so I don't really do a lot of that. So I don't try to project. And also I hate projecting like bad teams. So I know people are like, what's your projections for like Carolina and like Texans? A lot of it just comes down to like I don't care enough. It sounds bad. Like,
see, I really think the Texans could be okay. Like, they're not gonna be good at record wise, but they've got enough weapons there with the good O line. Like you're gonna be able to run play
They have a
action.
lot of
That 49ers
unproven
kind of
weapons.
system. Like I think it's gonna be easy on CJ Stroud. I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic on them than you.
I only projected Pierce. Realistically, was the only person I projected was like Pierce, and
Hmm.
Singletary. I didn't really care enough for the weapons, because for all I know, Robert Woods is the guy. All I know, Mechie is the guy, or like Nico. Like, but like even then, what's the guy? You know, I think sometimes people point to, well, they have to get yardage. That's not true. They don't have to get yardage. Like Trevor Lawrence didn't have a weapons. The Saints 2 years ago had like the best weapons, Marcus Callaway, and it went off the rails there. The year before, another year it was like Carson Wentz and just Pittman, and everybody else went off the rails, right? So like you don't actually have to have, like, things don't actually have to be good. And I think
Yeah.
the NFL has shown that to us. The Bears, no weapons. Last year for the Falcons, it was just London and the running backs, right? So it happens more than we think. That we sometimes just get dead teams. Steelers completely, almost a dead entire receiving core last year. So
At price, probably, yeah. I just think the Texans are gonna be okay. Like I like their weapons more than you. They're facing a last place schedule from last year. Their division is not good. Like I think they can have, 3, 4, 5 like really good shootouts or, good offensive outputs that I think are worth the price that they go. But I'm not
I
gonna
mean, they're
like
going
pound the
late.
table for like the freaking Texans. Like they are probably gonna be one of the 5 worst teams, but record wise, I just think they could be a little friskier. But I get it. Like it's not fun to click those guys.
Yeah, and we make
Except
those
Damian
argument for these
Pierce.
guys every year too. Like I made that argument even for the Texans last year. Davis Mills a year two, drafted a first round,
I
like
took way too
O
many
lineman.
like Davis
Um,
Mills teams.
yeah, like Nico and what did I get? I got a bad Brandon Cooks and a bad Nico. Like, yeah, I don't know. And it's not like, hey, I'm getting burned. I don't care about the burnage because they don't cost you a ton.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a reason why we're taking these guys at round 18. Right? We as a whole, as a fantasy community, have said you guys are around 18, 17 guys. Like, if I said, people believe in Nico, shoot him up the boards. Great, that's fine. But everybody else doesn't obviously believe in the other three weapons. And if they believe in Bryce or CJ Stroud, like they should be a lot higher than they are, especially this year.
This is a good question here on if the Jets get Cook. What do you think happens to Brees? What do you think happens to Cook? And would you draft either? Or depending on price, like what are you doing in that situation? So I've got some ideas on it.
It hurts Brace, obviously. I think you lose
For sure.
upside, lose a couple of touchdowns. Probably a slow start, but that's fine. Does it hurt Cook? Cook's kind of already late. He's already at pick 100 anyways, 100, 120. I mean, how much
Do you
can he
think
really get
Cook
hurt?
would fall or rise? I kind of think he might fall.
I think he might fall. I
What
feel
is
like
he like?
people are
He's
already
at
kind
like
of off.
95 right now.
Yeah.
And then
I
he
think he
goes to a
will fall.
place where people love Brees, and I think for good reason. Brees was awesome in the games he was able to play last year.
Oh, yeah, that man looked so special last year. He looked so good
I mean,
last
so
year.
say Brees falls to the 5th or 6th. He's there around Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Miles, and then the guys right after that, Miles Sanders. Say he's kind of in that tier. You still taking Brees, or are you taking him at all? I mean, I don't think you're taking much of him now, but if he was that much later, are you taking either?
I mean, I'm still taking Brees. I think the talent is better by far. And if I get 7 good Brees games, I'm assuming those 7 games are like really, really, really good. Wait, he falls to what, pick 40, 50? It's a
Yeah.
tough round to be in, anyways. Short of a few wide receivers, like I could see myself taking
I
him there.
wonder though, with how much the fantasy like best ball
Damn, there goes
community.
Porta too. Come on, that hurts.
Oh, stuff.
Okay, I'll just take my Jawans,
I like this. Getting your stack.
and then I have 2 QBs. I already have a high investment on one. Could take a receiver to balance out. Then these receivers I'm really into though. Could take Jalen Reed.
Week 17 tiebreaker there.
Yeah, it's a tiebreaker, and it's an open open receiver room. I'm hoping it comes through. But Dobbs
Yeah,
is
and
getting a lot of
you're
love.
not a
So it's fine.
Dobbs guy, but
I'm not anybody for like Green Bay. Like I'm just not a Green Bay guy right now. Jordan Love is like starting.
besides
Like
AJ Dillon.
yeah, huh?
Besides
Besides
AJ
AJ
Dillon.
Dillon, which I think
Yeah.
is a different story though. I don't think I
Yeah,
have to
for sure.
rely so much on.
You're not a pass catcher.
Yeah. But this is fine. Week 17, take it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And you used it truly as a tiebreaker because you didn't like any of the guys really. So you're like, that'll work.
I mean, I
for a
could have taken
second.
Jordan Love there and gone with it, but that would have just been kind of weird.
Yeah, and you already pretty much committed to it too. One thing I've thought is funny, and it's pretty obvious. This happens every year, but like the Jets as like an NFL team, signing Dalvin Cook does make a ton of sense, right? Your star young back coming off an injury, able to take some pressure off of him in year 2. It makes your team better. He's probably better than any RB2 you'd be able to get, or obviously any that are on the roster. And then us in the fantasy community are like, no, no, no. Like, we want the Brees touches. We want the Brees workload. It's just that funny dichotomy I see all the time. Like, because you have to sit back and think, like, this makes total sense for the Jets. They just restructured Rodgers. They've got plenty of money to do it. It helps their team be better. Like, it's just kind of funny because we're all like, this is the dumbest move ever. Like, give Brees the work, but
No, you're
it's
telling me, man.
It's a good football move.
Yeah. So like, I mean, you said it best. It's a football move. I know that we get triggered when things occur, and it's the NFL is a business, right? Fans come first, winning comes first. Fantasy is not even on the list, right? Like fantasy is probably like the 50th thing under advertisements.
Maybe.
So
I think fantasy is really good for the NFL though.
it is good but coaches don't think that, right? The coaches
Well,
are.
yeah, I'm not talking about coaching. I'm talking about like the NFL as a business. I think
I
fantasy
think about
is
like
huge for it.
from an organizational standpoint of per
Sure.
NFL team. Right?
Oh,
That's what
sure.
we're getting at.
Sure.
Per NFL team, they're trying to win games, and getting Dalvin Cook for like it's helping you win games. Like that's simple. Like it's just helping you win games. So that stings. But like I like to think about that too. So you see me. I talk about tendencies a lot. I think about organizational tendencies. I think about quarterback tendencies. Organizational tendencies are what kind of got me onto Melvin Gordon when Javonte Williams was like recruited. I even said I was like coaching tendency and organizational tendency tells me that's gonna be Melvin Gordon that year, and it was like Melvin Gordon didn't lose much to Javonte Williams. So I always like to look at that, and I think when we look at that, I think we can catch some of these hopiums kind of down. Like last year, I think if we would have thought about it normally based on the coaching tendencies and like organizational, we should have expected the Falcons and the Bears to run the ball. Like we should have seen it coming. They run the ball like 1,000 times.
Definitely I will say the Bears.
Definitely more the Bears.
It was a first year coaching staff though, right? So we didn't technically know what they were gonna do. The Falcons for sure.
Well, yeah, first year coaching, but like let's look at the weapons. Like we look at the weapons, we could have said, okay, I think I would run the ball a lot more if I have Darnell Mooney, Dante Pettis, and like Velus Jones as my 3 wide
But
receivers.
even that though, like there wasn't. I mean, Montgomery or Herbert weren't great for fantasy. It was just Fields eventually.
He was pretty good. They just kept getting hurt. They both got hurt, which was bad because
Yeah.
they kept trying to run the ball a lot. I mean, it's expected to why that passing is overall lower. Nice to see Jalen Hyatt still get picked up, even though I think he just got hurt, didn't he?
Did he?
Yesterday? Yeah.
I've got some horrendous closing line value on him. I looked at one of my BBMs from the first week, and I took him at ADP, which was 136.
Oof.
I was like, this sucks.
All right, I gotta look at my next set of picks. So 2 quarterback room for sure. I'm not even gonna bother unless I get something really cute, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm a little surprised that let's see, look at this auto drafting. I think 4 quarterbacks. Yeah, it's not. There was no way I could have had a shot at Treylon if he wasn't there.
Yeah,
if he
they were auto.
Yeah, I had an actual shot at Trey.
The rake has to be paid. Unfortunately, it's our guy Forrest Gump here.
Yeah. Is that Zeke? We're losing Zeke. Yeah, it goes Zeke. Yeah, it's another auto. I'm a little surprised Gus isn't moving up. Like, I think he's someone that could be moving up, and he hasn't.
Well, they did sign Melvin, so I think that kind of offset the J.K. Dobbins worry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm worried about Melvin, but I think, like, as a market, it's like, yeah, you've got Dobbins kind of coming down, with this potential hold in, and
Am I at 7
contract dispute,
receivers?
but
Yeah, I'm gonna get my 8th then. I'm gonna take Richie James here for another tiebreaker. I haven't really been taking a lot of James, but I think here would be
I
fine.
haven't taken him once, and I think I want to start mixing him in.
Yeah, it's like I catch myself. I'm always like, I haven't been doing this, but I probably should.
He was solid. I played him in DFS.
I could grab Marshall here too. Is another
He was just
guy.
fired up. No actual injury, it seems like, for Jalen Hyatt.
Okay. So I could take Marshall here and maybe just really double down on some Carolina.
Stack up your week 7 buys even more.
Just love them. Love that week 7 buys. But I'm gonna take Richie.
Just kidding. I don't want to influence you.
No, it makes sense. I do take some of these. Like I like these open receiver rooms, and I have to say that like Richie.
I know, attached to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
it helps.
And it's attached to Mahomes, and it's a week 17. Oh yeah, I'm actually using these as tiebreakers. Holy crap!
You are. Look at that. We use that trope all the time as tiebreakers, and I definitely don't use it as tiebreakers. Like I want to leave every draft week 17 correlation.
Yeah. I like to stack some of these. Like I know when we talk about stacking, everyone asks why I don't hard stack super hard. Some teams I will, but I also like to look at like minis. I like these like mini stacks of teams where like I can double stack a Carolina, double stack a Chicago, or maybe not get the weapons. Not the quarterback. I like to do these little minis here and there. I think they're fine. We saw this last year. It really worked out for like Waddle and like Tyreek. Like you didn't even need Tua all the time. The games that Tua was there, that was great, but Tua got injured and they still worked out without him. And so, Brandon Ayuk was a guy that you could have ran solo last year, which worked out too. Things like that, Kittle. You didn't need Trey, you didn't need the other quarterbacks as much. So I like to run these like little minis here and there.
I like it.
Definitely more so towards like open wide receiver rooms. I'm not going to take like the double butt ends and there's Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to stack like Osborne, Addison, like run with it. Like at that point, you're probably banking on something else. You're banking on an injury.
I think that's fair. Oh, I like the team that you got. It's super solid. 18th round here coming up. This is a good question. So you hear a lot about like getting unique and taking players that are only drafted on a small percentage of teams. What's your opinion on that? Do you scroll down, scroll the F down, as the Bath Rose would say? Do you do that?
Yeah. So I do like to scroll down a little bit. That's how I kind of ended up on Hollins for a little while. I was drafting a lot of Hollins. I still take some Corey D here and there. I'm very sold on these like spike week kind of dudes. I think Nathaniel Dell has been someone fun for some people, not so much me. But if you want to get like further deep, like Logan Thomas, I see people doing this. Greg Dortch, some people really like. Tillman, I think the Tillman bet's fine. I'm not taking it, but I would be cool with it. But like Hollins is one of the guys that we joked like I take Hollins.
I have taken Hollins a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm taking a bit of Hollins myself.
I mean, he's like the wide receiver too there.
Huh, I mean, maybe I could have just grabbed Hollins instead of Richie. Yeah, that's fine. I could have grabbed the third tight end.
What is your build right now?
2-5-8-2. Yeah, I'm not gonna grab that.
I'm assuming you're stopping at 5 RBs.
Yeah, these are because it's overall still pretty early RBs. I could get a 6 if it's a good one that comes back, but I'm most likely getting my third tight end. Tight ends are super inconsistent, and my theory on this has been anybody like after Kelsey is basically someone that should be in a 3 tight end room overall, or could be argued. Maybe not has to be, but could be argued into it, especially when it's split this far, 72 and 168. I think if I went like 72 and like Pat F, that'd probably just be 2 tight end.
I would definitely stop at 2 there.
Jordan Mason, somebody I scrolled down a bit for. Well, Jimmy Graham, my Saints stack. Jimmy Graham, Saints stack.
You haven't taken an old. You could double up on the New Orleans tight ends for us.
I got an old guy here. Where is he?
Gus.
Damn. Gus? No, it's not even old, is he?
Carr? I mean.
Carr's my oldest guy, but even that's quarterback.
Probably is
Carr. Goddard's old.
Is he?
He's a second contract guy. He already has a second contract.
26.
Oh, damn. 101 sucks, man. All the old guys.
You can't get your old guys. He's 28. All right. I was a couple years short. Yeah, he is lacking
Tolbert, baby. Solid start to camp. Here we go. Tolbert worked with the first team offense. There we go, guys. That's what we want to see. I won't get this far down. I know some people select to take some of these like randos, and I can't do it. but I will get around here, this range. I think like Jordan Mason's a guy. Trent Sherfield, sure. Russell Gage. That makes sense. Actually, I'm not against Gage picks. Nelson Aguilar. I took Aguilar once. I think I took him on a weekly winners.
That makes sense.
I don't take Shoemaker.
That's a 3K DFS play all day.
Yeah.
All right, who are you taking here? You're on the clock.
I'm in pain is what I'm in. I'm in a lot of guys here. Let's see what tight ends we have. I think like if I see these are like really bad tight ends.
Luke Musgrave, I like Auden. John, he's okay. Fant's okay. I don't mind the top 4 on the board there.
No, I just don't think the quarterbacks use that a lot. I'll take
Taking Corey J.
Oh shoot! I guess I got Corey.
Yeah, Corey Davis.
That's
got yourself a 9 wide receiver build, Davis.
God, this is gross. Well, this
I mean,
balances out.
You did take 2 Bears receivers, so you could need some extra usable weeks to get through that.
4 week 13 guys are gonna crush me, so I guess I got Corey.
Yeah, you got a Corey Davis, and you took Goddard and you took Jawan. Like that's fine at tight end. Like if you're gonna go thin at a position, even though you did take a guy at 72. Like I think that's totally fine to go thin.
Yeah, it's a preferential pick. Like we know that tight ends miss a lot, but I think like tight ends missing is still, I guess, bad and good at the same time. We'll see. Let's see results. Let's see how goof this team came in. We're too busy talking and hanging out.
Just go to drafts.
Drafts completed. God damn it. You can tell how little I use this app. Yeah, how little I use this. I mostly use.
Yeah, you're a phone. Oh my gosh, you didn't label a single one of your teams.
Oh yeah, I do. I got one team that's like us.
I know we drafted like at least one team together. I better see a draft with hope on there.
No, all the labeled ones are the ones on the show generally.
I'm just joking. No, this is tilting that you haven't named a single team.
I just don't name them until they get further. Like, what am I supposed to care about?
I want to know all the data on all my teams.
All right, so let's start with our buddy, the first guy, one of the first guys to tell us that he was in the room with us, which was Nick. And then we'll work myself a little bit backwards. So we got King, COS88. He's got himself a Dak Brock. It's pretty cool. That's fine. It makes sense to me. Josh, David Montgomery, Devin A. Change, Jamal Williams, Jalen Warren. This was a team I remember seeing like coming up. I thought was pretty cool. CD with his Dak, Garrett Wilson, unstacked, uncorrelated. That's fine.
Yeah.
Watson with his Addison, and then that works. And then Zay Flowers for his A Chain. Alec Pierce with his Jacobs. Curtis Samuel with I think his Kittle. Yeah, we go. Tywan Thornton with.
I love the Isaiah Likely pick.
What's up?
I love Isaiah Likely pick.
Isaiah Likely and Michael Mayer. Obviously, LeMayer and Isaiah Likely are correlated because there is a Miami here and a Josh Jacobs team here. And with Alec Pierce. Okay. Pretty solid team.
I like this team a lot. This looks like a lot of teams I draft right here.
Yeah, you're always trying to sell me Alec Pierce.
Well, I have like 17% Anthony Richardson by accident, so I have to have some Alec
by accident? You accidentally just start picking them?
No, it's just because I've been trying to not push stacks as much this year. Not like I'm not wanting to stack, but if I get sniped, I'm trying to be like, okay, well, it's like, oh, well, I missed out on my stack, but I'll take Anthony Richardson because he has upside. Or Daniel Jones more so.
Kevin Yuan, he wanted to ask us to review. We could do this. AR Goff. Totally fine there. Bijan Gibbs, Tank, Roshan Taijay, Deneric Prince. This is a name I've been seeing lately, and it's been making me laugh because it's like funny. But I'm not against it because like look what happened with Pacheco last year, right? Like
this entire running back room is rookies.
It is. Holy crap, that's actually really impressive. Young, yeah. How about going young, right? So here we go. Amon Ra. Oh, this is cool. This is a really cool set of stacks. So he's got Goff with Amon Ra and Gibbs. And this is if I play Gibbs, I have in my mindset for Gibbs has always been if he does well, it's through the pass catching. I think we all agree on this. We as a community agree that like then you stack off. Like that's fine. Like we've seen this pass with Todd Gurley in the situation, right? Like I'm okay with that. Totally stoked. Keenan, Jackson, and Smith and Jigba, which you are
So many
happy because
rookies.
he got some really good hype the last 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, James Sensor's awesome. Four rookie receivers with
Brandon got Sky Moore. You probably pissed off that guy by reaching on Sky Moore, the guy that was trying to get that week 17. Mims, Hyatt, Josh Downs.
Pittsburgh. But see, that's kind of what you're talking about. If you take that to mid tier, quit it. Definitely quit it.
Yeah, like
that's
totally
good
fine with
spend.
that. I don't know if I feel good with Goddard, Jawan. Like this feels makes more sense. I might be missing some of the correlation here though, but I don't really see a
He's
lot.
good. He's got Chicago, Atlanta. He's got Dallas, Detroit.
Where's the Atlanta?
He's got LAC, Denver. He's got a lot. I like
He's
this
got a
team a
couple.
lot. I probably haven't done any 6 rookie RB teams. I don't hate it because you did get 2 of the top ones that should get volume. That's the one thing you worry about taking a lot of rookies is that early you're not going to get production, but you got Bijan and Gibbs, so you're really betting you
These guys are
do.
going to be week 1. I'd even argue
so.
tank. Like Kevin, if you have the chance, like I said, I wrote a lot against ETN, and by writing against ETN, I'm writing for tank. So like you might have got 3 guys that are going to be like contributing week 1. Maybe not like huge out of tank, but once again, if he gets 40 yards on a touchdown, cool. That's a flex.
Yeah, this is a super fun team. I like this a lot.
I think these 3 picks are kind of more sketch, but these 3 I feel like really, really good. And ADP bucket, right? He took 2 big guys and let the bucket fall. So
yeah, I like it. I like
quarterbacks definitely love this. I think when you play AR, like AR Goff, AR, Kirk,
yeah, I mean you got the riskier AR bet, but then you got stable Goff.
Yeah,
and I also like doing 2 QBs with AR because like if you're taking him at 100, you're betting. He has a great rookie season, so like there's no real need to take a third, in my opinion, on that. So I like this team.
My only thing I would do differently if I ever went AR that didn't go Goff, I'd probably like AR like Carr Stafford, right? Like something like that maybe.
Yeah,
but like this is perfect for me here.
Yeah, I like the team.
And then and he has downs for the stack. So
it's good.
This is cool. As good as it gets. And overall, like, I'm fine with this. Brandon Cooks is the one-off, but we know what kind of player he's. An archetype, deep shot, all-around player. Marvin Mims, deep shot, Jalen Hyatt, Michael. Like these are like if I took
better and best players.
Yeah. These are the one-offs I want. Oh yeah, and obviously he has the Mims to Chargers. All right, we'll go to mine really quick. Obviously, we've seen this, but Burrow, Higgins, and Justin Jeff. Like I said, this is a weird tiebreaker for me for Higgins over like Devontae Smith and etc. Because I do like that week 14. I also like week 15, and I also like the Higgins I think Higgins is a touchdown guy. Catch up past streams, I talk about Higgins quite a bit, but he never played 17 games, but he has amazing stats for a guy that didn't.
Yeah, I like
Tony Pollard. Hope won't let me not hear about Tony Pollard, so I bought in a little bit.
I don't know if I would say I'm the biggest Tony Pollard bull, but
you've kind of shoved it down my throat in the beginning though, and I agree. Like at this point, like it's fine to take him at like 24.
I'm actually starting to get more worried about him because Zeke's definitely going to sign, and I think we're going to get some third round Pollard. But you did get third round Pollard.
Yeah. So Sanders, I'm taking Sanders. I think that O line's fine. I think the rookies, I wish I could have got Pierce here. Like so, Sanders and Pierce are guys I like to take against my Stroud and Bryce Young hate. I like taking these RBs that they're got to rely on. Same thing for Jordan Love. Like I'm not in on Jordan Love, so I take like Dylan. I think that he gets a lot more workload, especially for end zone. Damian Harris, Gus, just deep shots. This is like overall okay ADP bucket. I think right. We can agree on that.
I think the spend's fine.
Yeah. Wide receivers, I did spend early in the first 3. Justin Jefferson, Higgins, DJ Moore. Little bit of a fall here from 49 to 96. Unstacked, uncorrelated. I'm sorry.
I'm actually shocked you took Bateman.
There was no one else on there I liked left. Is what it was. It wasn't like Thomas and them were there.
Yeah,
I didn't have a shot. I could have taken. I guess I could have reached for tight end, but then I felt like my wide receiver room would have taken a bigger hit. I had got Goddard earlier, so I'm betting, and I dodged Fields for Burrow, but I'm also betting that I think he passes more. I also made that bet today that he throws over 3,000 yards, so I'm really betting on it. And then Mingo, empty wide receiver room. Reed, empty wide receiver room versus Justin Jefferson, Richie James, same concept, and Corey Davis, my flyer. So not heavy correlations, but some minor stacks on each other here. And then Goddard, just because elite tight end, and then Jawan with my Derek Carr. I feel like a lot of the guys I wish I could have gotten didn't fall back to me, but that's how I play it. I care more about construction and then archetype secondary, and then obviously the correlation at like the third. I think like stack and that stuff is fine. I like construction the most.
I like it. I think it's a good team. A question here from Sharpside. How do you feel about not stack? I think you say not stacking week 17. Do you think you could still win without doing it?
In a vacuum, I think so. Odds super slim. Like, again, no, I take that back. Odds are slimmer, but if you told me you have no week 17, doesn't mean your teams are stacked. I think stacking means more than week 17.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's good to have it. Like, you definitely, obviously, there are outcomes if you just nail the right players that go off in each game without having it stacked up. It's just, and you've talked about this, I've talked about this. It's just narrowing what you have to get right. I mean, we know from DFS slate after DFS slate, getting two teams going back and forth helps you minimize your randomness and gives you a clearer path to the top. You don't have to be. You could obviously just perfectly hit the right guys, but it just helps. And I think it's easy to come by too. Obviously now, because like ADPs are being so influenced by stacking and week 17 stacking that like a lot of it just sets up naturally. But I think it's easy to fall into without reaching. But at the end of the day, like if you believe your player take is better than the correlation, then take your player take. Like at the end of the day, I think that's correct.
Oh, you have the question. One more. Sharp asked me one more question. Thanks for answering. You like all the Bears, but not Fields. Can you explain? So I do think that if I like a certain quarterback, it has to fit like a threshold. So I like Derek Carr, right? But let's assume I think Justin Fields ends up passing more, and he gives you still top 12 numbers, 10 to 12, and he rushes a little bit less but throws a bit more. Then if he's not rushing, he's not giving you those top 3 to 4 numbers we're expecting, and he's being drafted as what, QB5, QB6 right now. Then like I think that he throws more touchdowns, runs a lot less yards, runs a lot less touchdowns. Like the numbers come down. And then I think Justin Fields should then rather be around Deshaun Watson in ADP, around that zone, right? So I have to bank that in that he comes down, not goes up. Right now, we're buying Justin Fields as a runner. Like I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the best quarterbacks right now, but I do think there's there's like a cap what you can do when you're not running.
Yeah, my pushback
unless he's throwing 40 touchdowns or something.
My pushback would be the O-line's still terrible. I don't think he's just going to sit back there and pick defenses apart. Obviously, like they added a much better talent in DJ Moore than what they had last year. And so I think they're going to throw more. But it's kind of a Tigers don't change their stripes situation for me. It's the same thing with Josh Allen. Like there's some FUD around there like, Josh Allen's not going to rush as much. The Bills aren't going to, do this. But like I'm telling you, when they're at the goal line, they're going to call the freaking QB power. Like you can say, Damian Harris is going to come in and steal some of those. And I definitely think he will steal a few. But like when it comes to the moment, Josh Allen is going to scramble around. Justin Fields is going to scramble around. And so maybe it's slightly less, but I don't think like all of a sudden, Justin Fields is going to go to like, not running. I know you're not saying he's not going to run, but not as much. Like, I mean, obviously what he did to close the season was historic. Like he will not rush for 100, 150 yards a game. I mean, that's unsustainable. But I still think the rushing is going to be there in a major way with Justin Fields. And so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, but like I said, that's just why I have that bet. I can't say that I believe he's going to throw a ton and run a ton. I think it's going to be, he probably runs a bit less, runs a bit more, throws a bit more. So the numbers have to balance down. Like you said, passing yardage to like rushing yardage is a huge difference, like ridiculously lower, right? So I have to treat Justin as such. And if I'm someone that's like super like, I think Justin's just gonna crush everything, then I would draft him higher. So I do think there's a balance to it. So I have to get, if I'm saying I'm gung ho on X, I do have to adjust my numbers. And that's what I did. I adjusted a lot of my Fields numbers to get closer to 4,000 passing and maybe like 400 to 500 rushing, which is like still really good. Don't get me wrong. But do I need to take this guy at pick 45 good? And the answer is I don't think so.
Sure. We'll see. I think we'll rush more still, but that's why they play the games.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean,
that was
anything
good.
Last questions for me, Hope?
I think that's all. I know you're not gonna go label that team, so I won't ask you what you're gonna label it.
I actually will. I put the dates on these, and that usually just tells me that it's a team I drafted on stream.
Okay, that makes sense.
Unless it's a team that's like I drafted by myself off of them, then I don't put it there. But if it's one of us that's together, our shared teams, I always put a name on them.
All right, cool.
I put the date. That's how I know.
Oh, that was fun. We'll be back next week. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else for you. I like that team. I think it's really strong, like really balanced team. I think this has been a fun week of streams to get in each other's head and kind of figure out, what our approach is. Because I feel like, when we do dual draft, we each talk about our pick, but it's tough to really get in depth, and this allowed us to focus with having the other person actually ask us questions and pay attention to what we were picking and why. So that was really good.
Oh, shoot. I think we missed one question. Did you answer mystical mixes?
Oh, I did not.
How do QB points compare to wide receiver RB points in the next ball? I'm assuming best ball. Does it make sense to draft a top 3 QB or wait for top 12? You want to go at this?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at it. It kind of depends on like what you want to bet on and what you're trying to do. Like advanced rate wise, I think you can wait on two of those mid-tier QBs. But the upside the top 3 offer you, you're paying a premium for it. But in the playoff weeks, when you get to, winning time, where all the money is, and those guys go for 40, it's really hard to replace that with a mid-tier quarterback. You can, and that's why a lot of like 3 QB builds with mid to late quarterbacks work to like give you better chances of replacing that. But it's tough. I mean, I draft a lot of both options, as far as mid QBs versus elite QBs. I've got kind of a smattering of each in my portfolio. So I don't know. What do you think as far as like, are you taking the elites? I mean, I'm not taking as much of the elites because they're slightly more expensive this year. But I'm still mixing them in. I think I have like 3 to 5% of each.
So just from a BBM standpoint, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. From a BBM standpoint, I live in quarterback 12 to 15, 17 zone, right? The Carl Wilsons, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones. But I do have 8% Joe. And I actually lump all these guys together. So I have 8% Joe, about 8% Lamar, 4% Josh, 3%, Hurts, 3% Mahomes. So like in total, I would say I have about 20%, 25% elite quarterback teams, right? Top 3 obviously is a lot different than like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert and stuff for as a tier break. I think you're betting on, can you nail the other positions correctly, which is obviously a bit tougher. And it does make sense though. So your second part of the question was like, does it make sense to draft the top 3 or wait for top 12? I think it makes sense. You think you can argue that it does. I had a lot of bad teams, terrible teams, make 1.5% because they got carried by like Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Right? Like just got carried by Jalen Hurts. Like here we go. Lamar Jackson for 6 weeks, right? With Tua or something. Like Lamar Jackson and Carson Wentz went off at the right times to be good, right? Like, so I think it makes sense because these guys obviously can put up, especially if we think that Josh Allen's running, Lamar's running, Patrick Mahomes throws 40 touchdowns again, and just these guys that rush, right? So I think it makes a ton of sense. I'm not doing it though. I think that you can get some value. Daniel Jones was a big guy I wrote about last year. Like when you need him, right? Like nice. Matthew Stafford's a guy. When you need him, and I think that's gonna pay off. I think it's just hard to hit the wide receivers right now and the running backs correctly, especially wide receivers. I think we're losing a lot this year. You're not getting 6th-round Jalen, 6th-round Herbert, things like that. So I like to wait. I like to mix it up, and I think we talked about this. Going 3 quarterbacks is a good way to get around there.
Yeah.
Howell, Ritter, Stafford, Daniel Jones builds like that. I think you can get there.
Yeah, you can
You got to
piece
be good once, basically.
right. I think that's totally fair. I think that makes sense. Pound, what's up?
Pat,
How we doing?
I shouted your stat line, Pat, about AJ Brown and CD, and then Hope hated me for it.
I didn't hate you. The chat hated you.
Yeah, I know. But hey, it ended up being like
I just fact checked you. That's all I did.
you.
I fact checked you and Pat.
Other than that, guys, like this is the end of the show for the day. Like I said, we'll try to do one more of these down the road, I think.
Yeah.
This was mostly a show for everybody to kind of get into our mindset. If you liked it, obviously rewatch it, like, subscribe, share it to a friend that's getting into best ball and be like, hey man, you want to see how these people that draft like 500 to 700 teams a year are doing? Like,
right.
This is what this is for. I know I had a
Absolutely.
lot of questions. I still have a ton of questions on everybody I ever watched. So that's what this is for. Any last words, Miss Hope?
No, that's all. I think this was a fun week. We'll be back next week. But yeah, like you said, like, subscribe. Yeah, we're gonna be here every week, you know, doing drafts. So if this is what you're interested in, check us out and stay tuned in.
Stacking is mandatory. Pants are optional for this stream. I stacked.
Right.
Yeah, I get to say
you stacked. All right, peace everyone.